It's that time of year. Hey, howdy hey, and welcome back to Emily's Adventures in Horrorland. Today we're going to look at one of the films from my Wes Craven box set. And the sooner I get through them all, the sooner I can return it to the shop and the nice man I spoke to at the till can buy it for himself. Today I'm going to review the 1977 original version of The Hills Have Eyes. So, let's get right to it. Spoiler alert in 3, 2... What? Oh, god damn it! You see here where it says blood relations? Well, that was the original title of the film. It's sort of creepy, but not really. It's basically just family. Also, in my opinion, it sounds just a little too similar to the 1963 South Korean film Blood Relation. What? What do you mean you've never heard of it? So this dude here starts grumbling, mostly to himself it seems, and he's very good at it.
Boy, they'd leave me belly up out here if they knew I was getting ready to run. Don't you make a noise when you walk. You folks gone too far.
Get in there. That'll be the state troopers. They'll toss you in jail and throw the key up.
I feel like he's been dubbed over. Maybe he liked grumbling so much that he just had to do it again in post-production.
Yeah, I wonder how far it is to the nearest cheeseburger.
Hang on a minute, are they all being dubbed?
Round and back.
I need to make a litter dump. You got a place to throw some trash?
I'm sure they had their reasons. So anyway, Fred here warns the entire family away from where they're going, advising them at least to stay on the main road. For God's sake, stay on the main road. The family decide to leave the main road, predictably, and they swerve to avoid a rabbit and crash a bit. But not too much. This is good because they begin to hang out and I can figure out who's who. Thank God they're dressed in different colours to make it easier. We then see someone in the distance, watching the family, and drawing a jellyfish in the sand. Ooh. One of the dogs runs up to investigate and gets killed, and when Bobby here finds out about it, he runs back to the trailer and keeps his mouth shut. Interesting strategy. We'll see how that works out. Meanwhile, Bob, the father, goes back to the petrol station, as we Brits like to call it, and he finds Fred doing this.
Get your stupid neck out of that belt, you jackass!
Fred explains that he lives in fear of his son Jupiter and his horrifying wife and children. And you guessed it, these kooky cannibals are now preying on Bob, Bobby and the rest of them. With no way to get in contact with police, what chance could they possibly have? Well, not much. Now then, every time I've seen a DVD copy of this film, or a poster, it's tended to show this guy's face. This is actor Michael Berryman, who has a condition called hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia, which we'll call HED for short. This is what gives the actor his distinctive appearance, and it's fair to say that he's the famous face of the entire film. So I went into this film expecting Michael Berryman to play Fred's son, since, well, Fred's son is described as being unusually large at birth, and Michael Berryman's quite a big fellow. Oh, by the way...
He was so big. He came out sideways and almost tore poor Martha apart.
Her first baby come out sideways. She didn't scream or nothing.
Isn't that something?
Instead, Jupiter is played by James Whitworth, and doesn't look too horrifying except for those teeth. And what with The Hills Have Eyes being described as a backwoods horror based on the legends of Sawney Bean, I sort of expected Jupiter and his family to be more than one generation removed from polite society. But apparently not. They know how to use a gun, they know how to use a radio. Sure, they attack and eat people, but they're still not as inhuman as I imagined. I'll give the film a bit of credit. Fred's exposition, along with the fact that he tried to hang himself rather than face Jupiter, that works pretty well.
He weighed 20 pounds and was hairy as a monkey. When he was 10 years old, he was big as I was. Accidents were happening all the time. Dogs falling in the well. I even found chickens with their heads bit off. Then in August... Now, a minute ago, I referred to The Hills Have Eyes as a backwoods horror, along the same sort of lines as Deliverance, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and earlier Wes Craven-directed flick, I Spit on Your Grave. All of these movies play on the completely justified fear of attack from strangers in an unfamiliar, usually deserted place. Another way to describe The Eyes Have Hills is as an exploitation film, maybe? Reasonably low production values, although, fair enough, they're in a desert. Gory happenings, shenanigans, rape for no reason. Hell, they were even going to kill off the baby until the cast and crew voiced their objections. So, my two most important questions. Was it scary, and did I like it? Well, I think it works fine. Apparently it's the film that would cement Wes Craven's reputation as a horror maestro. Which is weird, because I thought that would have been A Nightmare on Elm Street.
And I suppose I could see how it would shock audiences at the time. You know, video nasties were becoming a thing in the 1970s, and horror was becoming more humorless in general. Everything was coming to get you. And your mums. And although I found parts of the film boring and tiresome, there were other parts that I quite enjoyed.
2 of the surviving members of the not cannibal family managed to blow up Jupiter in their own trailer.
And thus, Brainiac Science Abuse was born! I also like me a decoy protagonist.
Goes from Bob to Bobby to this guy Doug. Yeah, Doug. Who likes short shorts? Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. And then there's Beast, one of the dogs, who takes out Pluto. Oh, Jesus!
Oh, good dog! Good dog! Here, have a biscuit! Have a biscuit! One last thing before I wrap everything up in my customary style. I really appreciated the length that Michael Berryman went to for this film. Now, part of his condition, the HED that I mentioned earlier, was that he had no sweat glands. And they were working in the desert. All day. I mean, that's some Boris Karloff level devotion to your craft. For that reason, I give this film 6 jam sandwiches out of 10. Well, it seems like I've been giving a lot of films the 6 rating lately. Where have all the bad films been hiding? Oh, okay. Next week. We'll tackle that next week. Well, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio.
Think they'll land for us?
Wouldn't be surprised.
Hello, Police Air Force. This is KUY 9532 calling Mayday. Mayday. Y 9532 calling Mayday. Mayday.